I feel like I don't know what my actual voice is. Does this sound normal to you, like my voice?
Yeah.
Okay. Honestly, I feel honored.
You do?
If I'm being truthful.
You do?
Yeah. No, I do. The first time I was on this podcast is a very special memory for me. You can just hold space for the fact that I do live with my parents. So not everything is all glitz and glam.
Yeah. Like
No,
if I could go back in
in
time for my social media strategy, I would have joined a sorority. Because nobody gets more likes than someone that was in a sorority.
Since I met you, how driven you are and how passionate you are about all of these different avenues.
Yeah.
And I feel like it's very... What are you laughing at?
Because I want to cry.
Oh!
It's because I want to cry because it's
Please do.
I just feel that like I was on such a mission 4 years ago to find someone just like you.
Oh my God!
Welcome back to Life in Bold. My name is, of course, Ben Hawes. I'm the host of this podcast, and we are looking at episode 65 of Life in Bold. And I'm so excited to have what some would call a great guest. I would personally call a fantastic guest.
Thank you.
Her name is, of course, Seann Cantatore. And Seann, I'm very proud, Seann, to have you on the show because you're a third-time guest.
Thank you.
And that is an esteemed few. A couple people.
Someone else has been?
My friend Michelle Marno.
Oh, okay.
Her name is not Michelle Marno.
I didn't know her name was Michelle.
Yeah, isn't that funny?
What she goes by. That's
her name
cool.
is Michelle Arno, M. Arno.
I like
Marno.
that.
Yeah. She'll love that she's getting a shout out also because she lives in LA and people from LA don't often get shout outs.
Right. It's usually
mostly
me.
people in New York.
Yeah, it's usually me.
It's usually
Seann.
Seann.
I get a shout out.
See, Seann gets a lot of shout outs because she is friends with all the people who are on this podcast.
That's true.
But do you know that I'm on episode 65?
I didn't know that. That's
I mean,
impressive.
not to toot my own horn, but
Please.
Most podcasts, 99% of podcasts actually don't make it past the 20th episode.
Really?
Yeah, actually there's a statistic that says most podcasts in general don't make it past the 7th episode.
Because they just give up, because it's too much.
It's too much.
Being consistent.
You have to be an insane person to have a podcast.
And we all know Ben is insane.
Ben is insane. And
in the best way possible.
Anyway, how do you feel being a third-time guest of Life in Bold?
Honestly, I feel honored.
You do?
If I'm being truthful.
You do?
Yeah. No, I do.
Why? You like you like listening to the podcast?
I love listening to podcasts. I love the first time I was on this podcast is a very special memory for me. It's cool because not many people can have their friendship blossom live on camera. And that's what happened with us.
I sent it to you. So we did the after show for Life in Bold. And you were on, I should look at what episode you came on. It was probably in the 30s maybe.
That sounds...
Potentially the 40s.
Yeah, maybe.
No, not even the 40s because...
It was a year ago.
It was.
And you did weekly for a while?
I did weekly for a long time, all through 2024, from basically from April through November, I did weekly. So I got from episode 20 something to episode 65.
Wow. The first time I was on your podcast was almost exactly a year ago, basically.
Yeah.
Is that?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I also feel similarly about that first episode because I remember absolutely capital W wheezing at something that happened, and it did feel that our friendship, it was in that moment that I said this girl is for sure.
Yep.
You know
I was
what I mean?
because I only knew you vaguely at the time, that we only knew each other from shows, I think, or maybe going to shows, or
I
you
feel
coming to mine.
Yeah,
you were very supportive.
Yeah, it was mainly me going to your show.
No, it's not on purpose.
Just kidding.
It's because at the time I was very busy.
I did want to bring up the fact that we are friends.
Oh, yeah, we are.
And we did bloom our friendship on this podcast, which is actually my favorite thing about having the podcast.
Yeah.
It helps me build relationships and have fun with people. Would you ever do a podcast? If you could come in and not do any other work.
Yeah, I love it. Well, because that's me thinking is
I have to rephrase the question. Do you, if you just came in and talked for 30 minutes,
I'd do it.
But you'd have to actually go there. You can't just do it on your phone.
Yeah. I'll go to a studio or
on 42nd Street.
On 42nd Street specifically. Yeah, I'd do it. At 8th Avenue?
Yeah.
7th.
The South Side.
I do 7th and east of that. Can't do 8th.
Right. No, 8th is tough.
I would, because I also enjoy bringing. I think it's a way to bring people together and to get to know them.
Mm-hmm.
That's how we got to know each other better. And you said you get to know your guests.
Everybody. And also, what's one thing that I've noticed is that it boosts my profile.
Well, that's number one.
I feel that when I have guests on, especially when I don't know them that well, it's just very likely that they'll post about me.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And then
because we'll talk, and then I'll make a clip, and then they'll post it, and then it shows other comedians at least, or other people who are friends with those people.
Yeah.
That I exist, and
that's honestly
I want to exist.
You do, no matter what, you exist, even if they don't know about you.
Yeah.
However, I see what you're saying. I think I have this with a couple other podcasts that I know of now.
Yeah.
It's because it's consistent, and I see it on my feed, and I'm like, oh, let me go check that out after seeing it a couple of times.
Yeah, you're not sold right away.
No, never.
No, never.
So that's why it's so impressive, though. I think you have been very patient with this podcast.
Yes.
Because when you said a lot of people only get to this number episode, it's probably because they want to see results right away. But honey, if there's one thing I learned in my 32, almost 33 years, in June,
me too.
It's that nothing happens overnight.
Nothing happens overnight, and especially I hate to talk about fitness on a podcast like this. What I've learned is that the days that it's the hardest are the days you have to stick with it. You know, and as I've been actually living my life in bold recently by not having a job and pursuing my business and going after it, I've had a number of very tough days lately, and I just tell myself that I'm just I just have to remember that it's a long arc of success or happiness or whatever, and I just think it's with the podcast, and it's with businesses, and my comedy career too.
Absolutely.
Because that is no overnight thing.
I think that's the one I've learned the most is the performing career.
Yeah, it's not even over 700 nights.
No, it feels some days a little bit impossible to make a living from it. But I like that outlook that the hardest days are. How did you word it?
Let's see.
Damn it! Whatever the sentiment was.
No, I think it's on the days that are the hardest, it's the most important to push through.
Yes.
To keep with it, because I hate talking about weight loss, but in times that I've tried to lose weight, I will step on the scale or whatever, and then I gained weight or didn't lose weight, and those are the days when I'm well, fuck it, I should just give up. But it's actually those days where you should try the hardest, or that you should stick with it, because then usually the next day doubles the weight loss or whatever. But of course I don't want this to be a weight loss podcast.
Right, of course. But
that's not my expertise.
An interesting metaphor, I think. Because I know what you mean. I struggle with exercise. Well, I struggle actually with doing really anything consistently, but especially with exercising. It's so funny because my brother and my dad are very much have always been very into exercise. And
are they men?
They're men. My brother and my dad. Yeah,
your brother and your dad are men. Okay.
And my mom too is very active. She's probably more active than I. But she's a woman actually.
Okay, she's a woman. Okay, so it has no correlation.
So no, not really. But I feel like I struggle with if I try to let's say go on a run. It's usually a run or a
run
bike.
is tough.
The point of it is very hard to do anything consistently, let alone multiple things. I think you and I have this in common, where we have a lot of different career paths at once, because you kind of have to be when you don't have one full-time job.
Yeah.
And also
yeah. So. Go ahead. No, go. I was gonna say. No, go. I was just gonna say.
We have a lot of interests.
Yeah, we have.
It's fun.
Mm-hmm. I was gonna say the opposite is also true. That when you do have a 9 to 5, it's hard to have multiple passions.
Also that, yeah, well, you would know more than I, yeah.
Yeah, I've had a job before.
You've had several 9 to 5s, I feel like.
Yeah, and
It was hard.
I'm over it.
So, and I'm so proud of you. Actually, sorry, you
Go
had
ahead.
something else?
No, I if you're proud of me, I want to hear
Yeah,
it.
you will.
If you're proud of me, if you're saying I'm proud of you, that's the best way to get my attention.
Okay.
I was thinking that
His ears perk up.
his ears perk up. I was thinking my friend's dad recently told me he's proud of me.
Aww.
But it just kind of I don't think I accepted it the same way that I should have. Like I felt it in the moment, but I just wanted to like tell him so much about like what I've been doing, and he just literally was like, I'm so proud of you, like you're doing what you like want, and like I wish I did that when I was younger and set myself up for this and that and whatever.
Wow.
And I did accept it, but like I was thinking about it as I was cleaning and like preparing for this, because like we were talking about, like you just there's so many things on both of our plates.
Yeah.
And I took about a year to like go 2 feet into like my life like this, but you totally inspired me.
Oh.
You totally. I was
Thank
like,
you. Well,
I
keep
was like,
talking.
I was like, yeah, that's the way to get
My
your-
ears perk up.
Like because you just make it work. Like even if it's very, very, very hard, and like sometimes it feels like I know you probably don't even feel like you're. Like,
So yeah, like
I'm saying you
can't
don't make it work.
accept
I'm
what
saying
you're
I'm
either.
saying you're making it work. You're like
Yeah.
it's not working.
Right. No. This is
But,
a good reminder for me though to accept that.
And my friend Denise also, like, she makes it work. She is living,
Right.
and she's making that living.
Right. Wait, can I go back to what I was proud of you about?
Sure.
Because we were talking about. Oh yes, about a year ago, I think, is when you stopped the 9 to 5. Is that right?
Yeah, it was in It was actually a little more than a year.
Over a year.
Like January 5th,
Okay. Wow.
2024.
That's a while ago. It's almost a year and a half ago. So I remember though you were looking for a while still for another 9 to 5, and I didn't say it to you at this time because I support whatever you decide to do.
Yeah.
So I had the thought at the time when you were telling me, I want to keep making money though, so I'm applying for these jobs.
Yeah.
I had the thought, I was like, man, like I really hoped that you would not do that eventually.
Yeah.
And
That
I'm
they
so
wouldn't
glad
hire
you.
me.
Well, no. It's that I really hope for you that you would continue your career, your multiple paths of this
Yeah.
career, because I could see always since I met you how driven you are and how passionate you are about all of these different avenues.
Yeah.
And I feel like it's very. What are you laughing at?
Because I want to cry.
Oh.
It's because I want to cry because it's
Please
like
do.
I just feel that like I was on such a mission like 4 years ago to find someone just like you.
Oh my God! Don't
And
even.
like I just like feel like my career, my whole 20s, like I was working toward what I thought was security.
Yeah.
With having 9 to 5 and taking my creative career slowly.
Mm-hmm.
And then I got laid off in the pandemic, and then my last job, like I was fine. I went to my energy person that guided me to start performing.
I remember this in
And
Nashville.
she goes, we did a Zoom call.
Yeah.
And we talked, and she was like, well, what do you want to do, like long term? And I've always said I want to do my own thing. I want to make money on my own endeavors. Like I want to like do now I was saying I want to do comedy. I want to do my businesses and everything.
Yeah.
And she was, I don't know like where she gets this energy from or whatever, but she goes, just so you know, like you can do that now and you'll be protected. Protected. I was like,
That's very powerful.
wow. Like she was like, yeah, like if you do this now, like you'll be fine.
That's great.
And then about like, I want to say 6 weeks later, I did a life coaching session with my life coach, Claire. Obviously I had more funds then.
No, life coach.
Life coach.
Oh.
And she basically sent me this like visualization audio, which I'll send to you. It's really good.
Please.
And you have to kind of envision yourself in 10 years.
Okay.
And I envisioned a bad version of myself.
Really?
I envisioned myself, you open the door and you see yourself, and I was sitting on like a Super 8 hotel bed in a brown cardigan, which I would never wear.
Absolutely not. Wouldn't be caught dead in it.
I wouldn't be caught dead in it. And I was just looking through photos in a like kind of an old photo album. I think I was in like the Pacific Northwest because that's where I've seen hotels like that.
Yeah.
When I've like traveled up there like with my family, and I looked really sad, and I was like, oh my God, like I can't make that my future. So I like sent her an email, and I was like, this is what I saw. Like, that's not usual for me. I usually have a very optimistic view.
Right.
And she wrote back, and she was like, maybe like that's a sign that like you have to really think about your path and like think about like what you're building. And everything happened in between. Jimmy was very encouraging with like the podcast, and you and like everybody in the whole like comedy community. And then I think I did like in January I did the thing again once I decided to not job hunt.
Oh, okay.
I did the visualization again.
Yeah.
I looked so good, so happy.
Wow.
Like, it was just a different mindset.
You were in a Ritz-Carlton.
No, I was like in my own. Yeah, but like, no, kind of. Like, I was in my own home that was huge. There was a piano. I was wearing like a green velvet. It was like New Year's Eve. I was throwing a party. But I just like really feel like I have shifted like my mindset and like appreciation for the fact that like you don't have to have like a lot of money.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, it's actually a weird realization.
It's not everything. It would be nice. It would be nice, especially when I see people like wearing nice looking clothes all the time, or like people who can go get a massage and a facial every month. Or week.
Right.
Yeah, of course, that would be so nice.
Yeah.
Maybe my back would hurt a little less.
Yeah.
However, it truly isn't everything. And once you live that way and you see like, oh, it is possible.
It's possible. You're making it. Like, you're like
And
literally
that's just
making
us right
it.
now also.
It is an investment.
Yeah.
It is such an investment.
Right
like, people talk about it. Like, if you listen to podcasts with, you know, people who have made it in either business or entertainment, like, it seriously is interesting because people will be like, oh yeah, like I was extremely poor. I was like I was like picking up Subway cards like on the ground and like you seeing what the balance was and like that kind of thing. And like, I don't know, I just feel like it is cool to realize that I can be comfortable in that.
Yeah.
And
that is amazing.
Do my shit.
I think let me tell you, it's especially awesome to me when you have worked in a secure environment for a long time, for what, 10 years probably almost, and then you
plus
made the
like
switch.
In college and high school I had jobs like I've never
even that like I think I commend you and anyone who does that and takes that leap because of course like I know I have taken the leap so to speak as well, but not in the same way. Like I just it's a different. I think I've pretty much always been doing like, well, I worked a 9 to 5 for 6 months.
But like odd jobs and like you can just kind of say like, okay, so this month this is how much I need to make to do
really
this and that.
Should do that. Actually, you're good with that, and
I feel like it's good. I
gotta be like, okay, don't get a $5.
I don't know. For me, it's a little bit general. Like, I need to make about enough to pay this, and this, and whatever. And I don't every month, you know. It's not like I do make that every month. But I'm learning, like, I'm watching more business videos, which more means a lot because I always watch business videos. And, like, podcasts, like, gurus, you know, mental health people. And that's a lot of what I watch on YouTube, too, is, like, the Mel Robbins kind of cinematic universe.
Absolutely. $700 per ticket for her
Mel Robbins
tour.
At the Beacon Theater. You can go for $700.
Easy.
Honestly, now what do you think her show would be? Like a 1-hour speech?
That's great. I'm sure she would have
guests,
like a couple guests, maybe.
Now, do you feel like it's harder? Like, are you looking at people and comparing your life to them at all? Like your childhood friends or like that kind of thing?
Definitely. I mean, I think not just them. No.
Oh yeah.
I compare myself to people who are at a point in their career that I would like to be at by now too.
Like entertainment wise.
Entertainment wise, yep.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's interesting. In that sense, I compare myself to their, so to speak, success, or my perception of them is through Instagram. Really, like that's the brunt of it.
I know.
It's who I have no idea.
Do you ever think about what
people
think of your Instagram?
You know what I do, because some people have said to me, like, in very nice things, like to the effect of, like, you're really doing it, like, you're killing it, you have so many shows, all this shit. And I'm like, man, in my head I'm like, I do not feel like I'm killing it. I feel like I'm fucked every day. I'm like, what the fuck am I gonna do? How am I, whatever it is, how have I not gotten an agent for like, or I don't have a manager, like,
I know.
But then I'm also like, have I tried? Not really.
And also, like, what I've learned about, like, okay, so here's another way you've inspired me is my tour. You went on tour, and, you were on social media being like, oh, here I am, driving here, going here, like, I have a show in LA, I have a show wherever. And I think with you, because you do, like, exactly what I do, not really exactly, but, like, you know what I mean, like, musical comedy and stuff, like, because I kind of see you as, like, the person that I compare myself to the most, not in a bad way or a good way, but, like, when you have a show, like, you recommended the venue that I did in LA. Yeah. I couldn't think of the word venue. Yeah, vision. But, like, you recommended the venue, and, like, I trust you more than anybody because you are playing an instrument and singing, and, like, the vibe should be similar to, like, our shows, which is why I want us to do shows. But also, like, you're doing other shows beyond comedy also, which is very different than I could never just be like, yeah, I'm going to do some covers.
Why not?
I don't know. I guess that's a mindset thing. Yeah, it's something
you've told yourself.
Yeah, it's a limiting belief.
Yeah.
But
anything's possible.
But social media, I think I have a really healthy relationship with it because I love just making the content, and I don't really give a toot about what other people are doing on social media.
That's great.
It's more my personal texting, like with my friends. Like when my friend says, oh my God, like we just got the keys to our house, or like, oh my God, I just paid off something, or like my student loans are gone, like whatever. Like I feel like people like that I actually know, that I know what they're paying for rent, and I know their salary. You know what I mean? Like how
do they do
maybe
that?
I don't know their salary, but I know it's like I know generally like what that kind of person makes.
Yes.
But I think that like the problem of they used to talk a lot about FOMO, fear of missing out.
Yeah.
Where people would go on vacations and you'd be like, why can't I go on vacations? And I have learned, like, if someone is always on vacation, I need to mute them or like what, because I can't see someone who's always on vacation. Yeah. I just can't. It's a boundary for me. Like I cannot see.
Because you compare?
No, I just I get jealous. I guess it's not really compare. Okay. Like I guess you would get jealous because you're comparing, but like I just think that like it makes me think that they must have so much money, but in reality, like they have 3 roommates and credit card debt, like it's not.
We don't know. We have no idea.
We don't know, and like I feel like
assumptions,
and also like maybe their parents pay for it, maybe their boyfriend pays for it, maybe like, and then I think that with weddings too, like when people have these huge weddings, I'm like, I probably couldn't right now throw myself a $500 party.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, I wouldn't even dream of it.
Wouldn't even dream of it.
BYOB always.
Say more about how you feel about the social media and what you're looking at on social media. Because also, like, you're a teenage girl, and I know it's really hard for teenage girls.
Yeah, as a teenager, it's just there's a lot of hormones and there's a lot of learning to do and all that. Yeah. No, but truly, I do feel like I still have so much to learn. I'm glad you have a healthy relationship with social media. Lately, I've been feeling like I don't. Like I go through phases of just feeling like basically addicted to
Oh, no,
Instagram
that's
specifically.
yeah.
But not just addicted, but it's to like it's sort of sometimes I'll not have a story up and I'll be like, oh, I should put something up, and I'm like looking through my photos to find, and then I say, why? Well, what is that about? Why do I need to constantly have? I don't know if it's like a validation thing. Of course, like when you post a success, like you had something successful happen, it feels great to get like that positive feedback. But at the same time, I don't want to get too attached. Like, I don't want to do that too much either, because I don't think, for me personally,
inflate how successful you are or like how much cool stuff is happening.
Maybe.
Yeah.
And also, like, I don't want to rely on other people's validation, because what I've learned in therapy, especially, is that the most important thing is that I love and accept myself.
Wow.
And social media can kind of do the opposite of that without meaning to. Where
now, it's also hard because we're in the business of social media, also like at the same time as being a human. And so I think a lot of people who are thinking about social media, like so I think a lot about like content and business and like content for business, and like part of the fun for me in comedy is the business and social media stuff. But like I've learned that the content that does better is extraordinary. Like when something is, I'm using the word intentionally, like extraordinary. Like when something is out of the ordinary that you do, it's going to do better on social media. So like for me, doing a show is not ordinary for the last 10 years of my life. Like I may have posted a selfie or a picture of me at the park or like that kind of thing. And like but now I'm in a purple suit performing at Stonewall with a photographer. That's extraordinary.
Right.
Like, and so people are liking that, being like, oh my God. And by the way, it's 29 likes, but it's but that's pretty good. And like, I find that for a regular person who's not pursuing anything where social media will help them, they post, if you look at their feed, it's like their graduation, their wedding, their baby's 1 month. You know what I mean? And that stuff gets more likes than I'll ever get.
Yes, that does.
Do you know what I mean?
Thousands. I go, like, what? They only have 500 followers. They got 1,000 likes.
No, like if I could go back
in
in time for my social media strategy, I would have joined a sorority. Because nobody gets more likes than someone that was in a sorority who had a baby.
That's such an interesting. Like, I don't even know why that. Maybe it's okay. Sorry. The part of the comparison for me is that type of stuff too. It's I would say I'm mostly with social media because most of what I see is other performers or people doing TV, having roles in TV or films, or
like AKA you being in a commercial. Like, AKA, everybody's probably jealous of you now. I
had the thought, I was like, this post is probably going to be annoying for a lot of people. Because I felt that way about seeing other people do it, like, going on
names.
Absolutely not. No, but just seeing people who I know were, like, within my circle who have seemed to... At one point, we were on the same level, so to speak. Now
don't you think that's funny?
Going off to do, like thousands of people in a theater. Which is awesome. And definitely, I'm getting better at just being, like, grateful for what I have and happy for them instead of being like, why am I not there? Oh.
Yeah, I think also for me, what helps me with that is, like, just thinking everything's temporary.
Yeah,
like,
also that.
You are in that situation... You're performing for, let's say, 50 people and they're performing for 500 people. First of all, that's their biggest show. That's why they're posting it, potentially. Second of all, it's not even like we're our own biggest critics. it's not even like we're our own biggest crickets.
Hey,
but
cricket
we
or
are
critic.
actually the people who know the most information about ourselves.
Yeah.
Like we are the ones who have seen us very naked, you know, like I'm talking metaphorically. I've never seen myself naked.
I never look in the mirror. I couldn't bear it.
But like I think that when
Ew.
you see someone's perfect post and then you look at yourself in your messy apartment and like you're just like in your gross like being and you're sitting in bed eating Cheez-Its and you're looking at someone's glamorous photo. I'm talking about you, not me.
Yeah. No. Specifically, I do eat Cheez-Its in bed, and I haven't showered for 3 days.
Yeah. And anyway, I think that like that's more of it than FOMO to me. It's like, oh shit, like Seann is on tour. And then I think there's a level of, in order to be successful, you have to think everything's temporary. So like, this is where I am now, but like one day, and it might be next week, like that could be me. And then the second thing is that like, you just have to like, that's the thing about like the hard days. Like those are the hardest days when like someone you knew or know like has a really successful moment and you're sitting in bed eating cheese. You're like, oh my God, like,
Yes.
I'm a loser. I am untalented. I can't do this.
Yeah.
And like those are all the thoughts you can't give credit to, and like you have to like, I'm not lecturing you. I'm saying this is what I've learned.
No,
like you have to have that mindset of like it's a long arc of success, and like I have to stay up here. Like I can't be down here thinking that I suck.
Yeah, absolutely. I will say now that I feel more confident as a person and as a
After what I just said?
No. Actually I feel less confident after your speech. No, okay. I'd say in general now I am so much more confident in myself and my abilities, and like not feeling like an imposter anymore or as much.
Yeah, that's good.
A few years ago I would say I was, and especially in my 20s, I think I was very much, you know, I was just starting out, like I wrote my first one-woman show like, I don't know, 5 or 6 years ago. And when I was doing that, like, it was my first time doing anything. You're like, I guess I'll just throw shit out on the paper and see what sticks. And I think that plays a big role in this comparison on social media. I hope I can get to a point where, you know, I was going to say where it doesn't affect me, but I can't expect that. Like, a lot of things affect us depending on our mood. And
yeah, I don't know. I think that there's just been some people who, like, it's like it's a gay guy with abs who's always in my, you know, like he's just always on vacation somewhere.
You're like, how the fuck?
I'm like, what is going on? And what I've just realized is like, it's just not health. It's just not good for me to see that. I can't even remember who it is right now. That's how muted they are.
Okay. Well, name names when you figure it out.
I'll tweet it out. I don't know. I feel like I just, every time I see someone's post, I go, ugh, why am I this and they're that?
Yeah.
Then you have to just mute. Like you just, or, I mean, you don't need to unfollow because then it's like, if you ever see them again, it's dramatic or whatever.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I just think either, or just like don't engage with it and you might just kind of, but then you always engage.
Yeah. I always
You're like, what's
still.
that person up to?
Oh yeah. Then you go
and
on
then
their
you like
page.
go on their page and then they're the first one that shows up. And then you're like, oh my God, I hate Instagram.
Shit. Yeah. No, that's why part of the reason I wanted to write that in the post I did about the commercial, I think I wanted to also explain that it was not easy, because whenever I would see people post their commercials over the past several years, where I was actively looking for an agent and just never had success with that, I would look at their posts and be like, how the fuck did they get an agent?
Yeah.
What is the secret? It feels like it's this like little group, and I was so confused by it. And then I realized, wow, a lot of it is luck, and also a lot of it is persistence and just continuing to try. But I wanted to say in that post specifically that I had a lot of trouble with that, and not one person has the same agent story of who I've asked, by the way. Every person
yeah.
has gotten an age in a different way.
Oh, so maybe you're a little traumatized or something. Like,
Maybe I was very jaded.
yeah,
I was very
jaded, maybe. Yeah.
I guess on social media, I try to be as real as I can, even though it's hard to be fully real ever on there. I don't know if you feel this way. Because
Okay.
I'm like, I know there's a camera on me. I know I'm going to do a voice. I'm not acting like I am by myself in...
What do you mean a voice?
Like, I'll put on a little... Like, I'll do... I don't know. I feel like I don't know what my actual voice is. Does this sound normal to you, like my voice?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, you have a playful voice. Like, you do fun stuff with your voice.
Right. Maybe I shouldn't think of it as a bad thing, too.
I think...
People have called me out on it before.
I will say...
Yeah, please.
I will say, after knowing you for however, like 1 or 2 or 3 years, whatever.
Yeah, 5.
2, 5, 10.
Since 92.
When I first met you, I did notice your voice because you also enhance it in your performance. So then I would be like, oh, her voice that she does on stage in certain songs is similar to her voice, like in real life. Yeah. Which is, well, that's what a lot of people do. And and then over time, I've noticed, I think you're just more playful with it. Yeah. I don't think you have an accent or don't have an accent like at certain times. I think it's like when you're feeling fun or when you're more emotive. Is that the word? Emotive?
Yeah, I think.
Like when you're emotive, like your voice kind of does funny stuff.
Yeah.
But I like it. I think it's like a good trait of yours.
Thank you.
But I do think have you always said something like, I don't know what my real voice is?
Since probably high school. Like,
okay.
Since like probably later half of high school into college, I was I would just put on voices and accents a lot. And it would become subconscious. Like it started as like a little, I'll do a British accent as a joke or whatever. And then over time, then I started doing comedy, and that kind of just perpetuated.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, but it's good for comedy, for sure.
Yeah. I think at that time, a lot of people would call me out or just be like, where are you from? And they still actually do that now. And I'm like, White Plains, New York.
Yeah.
And they're like, really? Because you sound like you're from either Midwest.
Yeah.
One person said Estonia.
Okay.
Very specific.
No, Astoria.
Yeah. And I've always kind of thought of it as like, oh, it's a bad thing. It's like because I'm not comfortable with myself. But I like your perspective that maybe that's just part of who I am, and that's okay.
I think it is your voice. I actually feel that, like, after knowing you for a long time, whether that was 2, 5, or 10 years.
Yeah.
I think it's your voice. Like, I've had very real moments with you and very funny, silly moments with you. And, like, you're using whatever voice comes to you. Like, there's no, like, you're kind of like, I think you just have range, babe.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Oh, yes, I've cried to you on the phone before.
Yeah, everybody cries to me on the phone.
And in person.
Yeah, I think so.
Right?
Probably.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot to cry about.
You cried in front of me today.
Yeah,
You
a little bit.
teared,
A little bit. I can cry way better than that.
Yeah.
Okay, so now what do you think, like, it was a year ago. Now I can start asking questions like this because it's been a year since I've been doing, like, Life in Bold with the focus of kind of comedians and stuff. And but I would love to know, how would you define boldness now?
Since our first episode a year ago or so, I have made so many changes in my life that I just couldn't have even envisioned. Like, it's wild. Like, I did the cross-country tour. I did a whole new show. My first narrative musical, and moved out of my apartment, moved out of the city, was gone for 2 months.
Yeah.
Moved in with my parents. So when you see me in a commercial on Instagram and you go, oh, Seann's in a commercial, that's really annoying. Why am I not in a commercial? You can just hold space for the fact that I do live with my parents. So not everything is all glitz and glam.
Yeah. Except living with your parents is pretty glitz and glam.
Well, it's pretty glitz and glam, actually, because I have a lot more space. And I get it. Damn good home-cooked meals.
Yeah.
So was gonna say anything is possible, but also that's not quite true. Well, because you gotta have certain resources, you know.
Yeah, not yeah. What do I think is living life in bold? Anything is possible. Well, not everything. Not everything.
And not for everyone.
And not for everyone. Yeah.
I think a big lesson I learned from all these changes is that I had the power all along to make those changes. Don't laugh. I can't look at.
Wait, no. I just the all along made me laugh.
All along. I know it's
we're
so
at the
dramatic.
end of the movie. Like
I had
it was
power
me the whole time.
all along. But
truly, for real,
there's a reason that's a cliche because, and then that's the thing with cliches is we hear it so much that it stops having any meaning.
Oh, whoa!
But it's so freaking true that I was scared. I was scared to make all those changes. I was terrified, and I did it anyway. And I think doing something that you're scared of and doing it anyway is like a huge part of living life in bold.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, I think it's like when things are scary, when things are hard, when things
like
are
you
down.
said earlier, kind of. Yeah.
Doing it anyway.
Yes, like the hard
Do it
days.
anyway.
Because then look at all this stuff that certainly it wasn't all rainbows and butterflies the past year, but if I hadn't made that, like, my life would be totally different right now. If I don't know. I wish I could articulate it better, but hopefully it makes enough sense.
Well, it's just a podcast. You don't have to articulate things.
That's true. Yeah, we could just kind of infer.
There's editing. No, that is so true. I think that for me also one of the definitions of living life in bold is when things are challenging to do them anyway. Mm-hmm. And to choose challenge is like one of my little phrases of like to choose it and to go in the direction of challenge when you could easily, like we say, like work a 9-to-5 or and by the way, it can't easily work a 9-to-5. No one's hiring.
Yeah, also that.
By the way,
I know we're like, yeah, we could just get
pop into a 9-to-5. No, we can't.
No.
By the way, I tried for all of 2024. No 9-to-5s are available.
Yeah, we're not saying.
But
that would be our specific way of.
Yeah. But anyway, Seann,
hey.
I want to thank you for coming on my podcast and making this an unbeatable episode. And I just really appreciate you as a human, as a friend, and for coming on to the podcast as I relaunch. When I relaunch things, I choose people very like specifically, but this time I just kind of left it up to the
this guy over here. Woogie. Why I order?
Well, as I was saying that, I was really happy that you were the first person, and then I designed the relaunch around you. Mm-hmm. But you were the first person to, like, on my schedule. You know what I mean? Like,
it just happened to be that way. Yeah.
It just happened to be that way. But I think you are a core part of the Life in Bold lore in bold.
Thank you.
And I just want to thank you for coming on the podcast. And to everyone out there who watched and enjoyed, I hope you have a great day, an even better week, and may we all find the boldness to chase our dreams. We'll be right back.